Hey guys, Chester Westerford here. So I was trying to come up with kind of a different sort of topic I could do on the channel. I was getting a little tired of just doing top 5 lists all the time. I don't know, I wanted to try something new. So even though this one is kind of a list, it's also a little different. I just wanted to talk about some stories that most of fandom seems to hate, but I tend to really enjoy. I don't know, maybe hate's a strong word, but they're just not very popular, and I don't understand why people dislike them so much. Anyways, I picked out a few, and I'm going to try to talk about why I like them and defend them a little, maybe. So the first one I want to talk about is The Chase. Lots of people find this one to be boring or just incredibly silly. And yes, I do find a few parts boring and it is incredibly silly, but I think that's maybe why I like it. It's just a lot of fun. Now, it does drag in the beginning for me, which is ironic because most people say the beginning and the end are most interesting and the middle drags, but I think the beginning and the end are the most boring and the middle is the most interesting part. I don't know, like I say, I just think it's a lot of fun. I think the idea of a serial about a chase through time is just a really good idea, and one I'd kind of like to see in the new series. Imagine if we had a whole season where the Doctor is chased through time by the Master or the Black Guardian or some new villain maybe or something. I think it'd be a new and fresh direction to bring about some change. And I think change and an interesting fresh new direction is something the series really needs right now. But yeah, The Chase. Man, I'm good at rabbit trails. Yeah, it's ridiculous, and there's an android Frankenstein in a funhouse who can destroy a Dalek. I'm not sure about that. And Morton Dill must be a particular kind of idiot to think special effects in a movie would be so realistic that a police box could actually appear and disappear in front of his eyes without camera trickery. But hey, that's a common trope. Never really liked that trope. But anyways, like I say, the ridiculousness of this story is why I like it. Even the time-space visualizer, as impossible as that seems, I mean, what in the show isn't impossible, right? It's an interesting concept. I mean, who wouldn't want one of those? I don't know, I watched this story a lot when I was younger. I think it just maybe comfort viewing for me. I don't know, when I just felt like sitting down, turning my brain off and relaxing. This was the story I did it with. The only regret I have this story is they keep having to cut that Beatles scene. It was on the North American VHS, but that's it. It's not on BritBox, it's not on the DVD. I really hope it gets restored on the Blu-ray. I love that scene, it's hilarious. Anyways, I'd give this underrated story 7.5 out of 10. So the next one I want to talk about is Planet of Giants. I'm not a huge fan of repetitive tropes in TV. Doppelganger episodes? Aggravating. Episodes where they wake up and it's all a dream, lazy writing, shrinking down to miniature, repetitive. Having said that though, I would also add that any of these tropes can be really good when something unique is done with them. And I think this is one of those cases for me. To me, it's clever that although the story does hinge on their shrinking down to minuscule size, that's not the only aspect of the plot. Like, if it was just about them avoiding dangers and trying to get back to the TARDIS in their normal size, I think it would just be derivative and boring. But the fact that they have to help resolve this murder, just to me gives it a more interesting edge. Add to that, the sets are really fantastic, especially for 60s Doctor Who. You can tell the set designers really put a lot of effort into this one to make these gigantic sets as well as they did. I'd give this unpopular story a rating of 8 out of 10. Okay, now the third and final one I'm going to talk about today, there is more of these. I will probably do another video in the future, but yeah, I'm just going to talk about the 3 today. Okay, so the last one is the Time Monster. Okay, this one seems to be almost universally hated. And if I'm honest, after having seen it a couple times, I really don't understand why. I mean, I'd never say it's one of the best, but I quite like it. I'd say it's one of my favorite Pertwees. One thing I've heard is that the monster is terrible and silly, but there are plenty of extremely well-regarded stories that quite frankly have monsters in them that aren't that much better. Bubble Wrap in Ark in Space. Barney the Dinosaur in Androzani. Even Prisoner Zero in the 11th Hour gets some flack for what many consider to be subpar CGI, but that's often cited as one of the best, if not the best, post-regeneration stories of all time. But beyond the horrible monster, tell me, why is this story hated so much? I think it has some very good ideas. unique twists on Pertwee's usual format. Delgado gets the chance to do some great manipulation and scheming. Okay, Baby Benton is a bit silly, but, I mean, why is this one so hated? I don't know. I think this is one of Delgado's best episodes. Might be an unpopular opinion, but yeah, if you do hate this episode, I'd be very intrigued to discover why, so please let me know in the comments below. And that's all for today. What do you guys think? Do you have any stories that you really like but other people hate? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll, tell me why I'm wrong and why these stories are awful if you want. I don't care. We're all entitled to our opinions. Anyways, I'll see you next time.